Hello everybody and welcome to Cosplaying Around. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about buying stretchy fabrics. This is kind of a beginner's guide because if you know anything about it, you'll probably have a bit of an idea of what you're doing. But if you are going to be cosplaying anything within the superhero genre, I guarantee you're going to have to touch stretchy fabrics at some point in your life because you're going to be donning a bodysuit whether you like it or not. So I would like to start with the basic here of what the difference between the types of stretches are. If you've never purchased stretchy fabrics, you might not realize there is a difference. If you've ever touched them and kind of tugged on them a little bit, you might notice some of them are stretchier than others. If you look at the top, generally they will say if they are two-way or four-way stretch. This is in America, keep in mind, I'm sure you can tell by my accent. So two-way stretch means it only stretches from, we'll say, right to left whenever you pull on it. And if you go to stretch up and down, it doesn't stretch almost at all. Whereas four-way stretch will stretch very easily in both directions. Generally, if you can make a choice, you'll want to pick four-way stretch. Two-way has its place. You can still use it. However, I have used it for making unitards in the past, and it didn't work out nearly as well as just going ahead and using a four-way stretch fabric. In the UK, two-way stretch is known as one-way because, to be fair, it only stretches in one direction. It stretches in one length. Four-way is called two-way because it stretches both ways you pull it. For the simplicity of this video, I'm just going to continue to say the American terms since that's where I'm from. But keep that in mind if you are from the UK, that when I say two-way, I mean one-way. When I say two-way, or when I say four-way, I mean one-way. Two-way. I'm getting myself confused now, and I'm going to stop. So, now that that's covered, we'll talk about choosing fabrics for your character. Most of the time, you're going to want to get a shinier fabric. Most comic book characters are represented as being pretty shiny. If you'd like to make some modifications to that, that's completely up to you. And then there's some that are really up to interpretation. Like, I really love to use wet look lycra for characters such as Harley Quinn, but I could very easily see the Catwoman from the Batman animated series being done in a standard matte lycra, and then Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman would probably be best in stretch vinyl, even though I hate it. So, going on about that, the basic lycras you're going to find in most of your standard fabric stores, it's got a little bit of a shine to it, but it's not very overly shiny. You have to be a little bit careful of that because a lot of it tends to be in two-way stretch. Like I said, you're really going to want to look for that four-way if you can find it. Online you can find a great variety of different types of stretchy fabrics, and that's really going to be one of your best assets to costume making. I do always recommend that you order swatches. A lot of websites offer 10 free swatches if you are a first-time customer. If you aren't, they're still only $1 a piece, and they're well worth it, especially if you need to do any color matching or if you're really not sure about the texture. So, I mentioned wet look lycra. Wet look lycra is pretty awesome. It has a shine to it, but it's not excessive. It kind of just catches the light enough to get the parts of you that are in the foreground. So if you are a busty woman and you're wanting to emphasize that, it will on its own. Spandex overall actually tends to be very flattering, so don't be afraid of it. But wet look is definitely my favorite. I tend to refer to it as liquid lycra, but that's not really what it's called. Metallic spandex is also fantastic for futuristic characters. It's way shinier than wet look lycra. It definitely has a very metallic sheen to it. They are not lying when they say the word metallic. You will get exactly what you think you're getting. It works great for characters such as Spider-Man 2099 because, like I said, it has a very futuristic feel. So you will not be disappointed in that aspect, I guarantee. There are quite a few variations on things also because they do make holographic spandex, which tends to come in prints. Basically, it's a standard spandex background with a holographic printing that's very similar to the metallic spandex on top. I've never had to use it. It's basically just regular spandex with prettiness on it. I'm certain there's probably something you could very easily use it for within the costuming community. So then we have stretch velvet. Stretch velvet, I believe only comes in two-way. Don't take me on that. I've just never seen four-way stretch velvet. Now in that instance, I do notice that the stuff I have currently, while not complete four-way, does stretch a little bit more up and down than a lot of two-ways do. It's just something you gotta be a little bit careful about when you make it, allowing a little bit more room. Stretch vinyl is the next one I'm coming to. I have a severe love-hate relationship with this stuff. I made my Bleeze costume out of it, and I cheaped out and purchased two-way stretch vinyl because it was a leotard and not a full unitard. So I thought, hey, it should be fine. It was awful. I couldn't move. I couldn't move, and I had these giant heavy wings on my back, so I couldn't even move quickly. They do make it in four-way. Please purchase four-way if you're wanting to use it. It is really cool looking. There are a lot of costumes that would look best within that type of fabric. Like I said, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is a good example. But go for the four-way. All of these fabrics that I've mentioned that I've had a positive light on are really good. The only thing that I would recommend is purchasing it online. Like I said before, order swatches and take a look at it, see if it's really what you want. But please do yourself a favor and order them online. You can buy some of them in stores, such as the basic Lycra, but if you're wanting anything special, you're probably not going to find it, and a lot of these stores can't even order it. So I will be having an article coming up next week that's going to go over some of the different resources that I can give you on ordering these different types of fabrics or just purchasing them, period. So the only resources I will mention are ones I have actual experience with and can tell you my experience with them, if it was positive or not. I haven't ever had a negative experience with a fabric ordering website, but I have had iffy experiences. So we'll go into that next week. I hope this was helpful to some of you guys, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye.